Hey everybody, and today we are figuring out whether I completed the r/fantasy 2023 bingo board without trying. I see a lot of videos nowadays about the r/fantasy 2024 bingo board. If you don't know, r/fantasy is a Reddit group. I do no activity there at all, but about 2-3 years ago or so, I started seeing people taking part in this challenge. It's basically a yearly bingo board. You have until the beginning of April, until the end of March, to try and complete this challenge board. And I saw people taking part in like every year. I was like, oh, I kind of want to do it, but I always find out about it like super late, and then I feel like it's so much work to go and look into it and blah blah blah. And so in the end, I just don't do it. And that is the same as what happened with 2023. But now I kind of feel like, you know what? Let's see what I actually did in 2023 and how close I potentially got to completing this bingo. So basically you have a bingo board of different prompts that you need to fulfill. There are different levels because basically you have the basic prompt, but then you also have a hard version for it. I think you also have a hero version, which is if you have a review for all of them. I have a review for all of my books on Goodreads, so I have, if I complete all of the board, and I also have hero mode in any case because I automatically do that for all of my books. I think that is more or less it. I think you can also, you may not repeat so let's see here about some of the rules. So you can't use the same book more than once on a card. Important to note, of course. You may not repeat an author on the card, except you may reuse it for the short story prompts. Only one square can be a reread. All other books must be first time reads. And then you can substitute one square on the board with a square from the 2023 card. So we'll see, maybe I'll get the bingo like that, but that would just really depend on me just missing out on one space, which seems to be a little bit difficult. Okay, so the bingo card 2023. I'll have the bingo card for you guys on the screen, but I will go about it a little bit different. So the first one is title with a title. Read a book in which the novel title contains a job title, military title, or title of nobility such as locksmith, lieutenant, or lord. So, okay, can I DNF? Not a title of royalty is hard mode for it. Can I DNF? That's a good question, actually. Probably you have to read it, right? Because I can immediately think of a book, but I DNF'd it. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm looking at a list of 52 books that are marked as fantasy that I read in 2023. Well, it actually goes, oh yeah, this is more difficult. Now I have to look from March 2023 until, no, from April 2023 until end of March 2024. So I have to look at 2 stats, which is very annoying. Is Avatar a title? No, right? Oh, Emperor. We have the Bone Shard Emperor as a potential here. So Bone Shard Emperor. It's also difficult for me to make out now because, like, yeah, am I now at the bottom or does it still need to load? I think I'm at the bottom. So we have Bone Shard Emperor and Witch King as possibilities here. I should still go and look also at the 2024 stats now, which is just annoying. Like, to look at 2 years here in order to make sure that I have the books that I need. Alright, stats 2024. Why is the app going so slow? Kushiel's Justice. Oh yeah, that's good. Because the book that I had in mind was The Justice of Kings, which fits hard mode, but Kushiel's Justice has that justice as well. I didn't DNF it, I read it fully, I read it in February, so it fully counts for this. So that is hard mode done on the first square. Alright, second square, superheroes. Story focuses on superpowered individual. No heroes and villains and capes. Hard mode, not related to DC or Marvel. Superheroes. Do I ever consume anything? Superheroes. But like, super powered individuals. I mean, can we not say that all magical people are superpowered, but I guess that's really like going a little bit outside of the conventions. Superheroes. I don't think so, right? So this is pretend if, like, depending on what, if I have definitely not going to look at the 2022 bingo card to see if I can fill it, but if this were to be the only square that I cannot fill, then I will look at the 2022 bingo card to substitute this spot. Bottom of the TBR, read one of the books that's been on your to be read pile the longest. If you, well, I definitely did that. Can I see which one that would have been? Probably not. That's quite difficult to see, right? How am I gonna determine that? But I basically keep books on my physical TBR for a maximum of a year, meaning that I will have had that. So books that I finished in 2023, if I just sort them by the days that they were on, so sort descending, the book that was on my TBR the longest, that's not a fantasy. Second one is a fantasy, and when did I read that? July 2023. So that would be The Black Coast by Mike Brooks. That one, it took me the longest before I got to it, so I'm just gonna count it for this because of that, and that is 362 days. So I finished it in July and I purchased it in July 2022. But at the start of r/fantasy bingo, this probably wasn't the oldest book on my TBR, but let's just leave it like that because I cannot figure that out otherwise at this point in time. What was hard mode? There was no hard mode for this one. Okay. 4. Magical realism or literary fantasy. This is difficult because I don't agree with the way that magical realism is often like what people often call magical realism. So read a book that portrays magic or unreal elements in an otherwise realistic or mundane environment. These books are often found on literary fiction shelves and book lists and not always shelved as genre fiction. Okay, and then hard mode, not one of the 30 books in the link thread. Oh, I hate that when they do that. And then you have to look through another thread in order to find out whether your book is in there. Did I read anything this year that could constitute this? Well, After the Dragons to some extent, I guess, could be considered that because it's a magical story, but it's a future setting. But it's like, aside from that, it's a realistic setting. And that might actually be a book that is not in that thread. Yeah, that's not in that thread. I'm going to count it. Would I consider that? No, I always consider those books more like low fantasy rather than magical realism. Let's actually see, did somebody put it as, that I would have to check in Goodreads, right? Some people sometimes put like a magical realism tag on it, but on the app it doesn't show those, which is very annoying. Maybe not, I don't see people putting it on like a magical realism list, but then also of course not that many people have actually read it. Should I look for another one? I find this just to be like super difficult because there are so many things that people consider magical realism that I don't consider magical realism. So I find it weird to know whether I should consider it magical realism because I'm like, yeah, I would never consider that magical realism, but I know many people do. In 2023, I was also of course looking through my what I definitely read that people consider magical realism. When did I read that? Before your memory fades. That has a magical realism tag, was also not in that thread. And this I read in February 2023. That's too long ago. Is that, no, that's not the most recent one. Wait, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Before We Say Goodbye, that's the one I mean. Okay, read it in October, so that one counts, and that one is magical realism, supposedly. I would more say low sci-fi, but okay. So magical realism, hard mode, got it. Young adult, read a book that was written for young adults. Hard mode, published in the last 5 years. Okay, I know of one YA book definitely that I read, which is The Whispering Dark, but when did I read that? Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. May 2023. Yes. Is there a hard mode to this? I published in the last 5 years, already forgot that point. 2022! Woohoo! How we're going good. We just have that stupid superhero one. Alright, second row. Sixth one, mundane jobs. The protagonist has a commonplace job that can be found in the real world, so no princes or monster hunters. We are also excluding soldiers as they are already extremely prominent in sci-fi and fantasy. Ah, is this sci-fi and fantasy or just fantasy? Okay. Hard mode does not take place on Earth. I mean, that is definitely fantasy. Or, yeah, okay, whatever. A normal job. I'm trying to think of, I read this book and I'm trying to think of what her job actually was. I think she was like an apprentice to a pharmacist, right? In the Jasad Air. But I'm sure I have more books for this probably. Let's see, 2023, Truth of the Alecki. This guy, does he have a job? I don't remember. Shadow of What Was Lost, I don't have a job. Vicious Justice I've already used. After the Dragons, I mean, does he have a job? They don't really have a job. Yeah, one of them, he does kind of work. Yeah, it's not a real job, I think. God Killer, not a real job. One for My Enemy, they don't really have a job. The Ninth Reign. No. So the Jasad Air for this year at least is the one that I can kind of come up with, like an actual job that we know in this world. But probably in 2023, there must be some other options, right? Is it that rare to have? Maybe it can be that rare indeed. 2023 fantasy. I guess we cannot consider mercenaries normal jobs. They exist in this world, but I wouldn't really consider it a normal job neither. Like with the Dachin in Cairo, there we have like detectives. So that could work as well. After the Forest, yeah, she's a baker in principle. Black Coast I already used in any case. Yeah, Fate of the Fallen, this guy is a forester. I think my best choices here are the Jasad Air, and then After the Forest, where she's a baker. 7. Published in the 00s. Jesus, read a book that was published between 2000 and 2009. Hard mode, not in the top 30 of r/Fantasy's Best of 2023 list. Why would they be in the top 30 of the Best of 2023 list when they're books from... or is it just like the best thing that people have read in 23 regardless of? Let's see, something published in the Nillies, right, is what you crazy kids call that. Yeah, okay, Before They Are Hanged. When did I read this? April 2023, but that's gonna be in that list probably. Best of 2023 list. Yeah, the First Law World is in there, of course. So this is an option, but it's not an option for hard mode. And we secretly want to be doing hard mode. What was I looking for? Yeah, published in the Nillies, right? Not an option, not an option, not an option. I think the majority, this is too old, the Mad Ship. But Mad Ship, that's the second one. Maybe the last one will be, but that was also in that thread. I'm just gonna use, I couldn't reuse an author, damn it, otherwise I could just use Kushiel's avatar then. So yeah, Ship of Destiny is another option, but it is also by an author that is in that stupid list. It's all too recent, I read too much recent crap. And then these Kushiel books, but yeah, I am already using one and I needed that one for hard mode, so I cannot replace it. I can replace it, but then I'm also replacing it with something that doesn't fit hard modes. Unless I could replace it with the Justice of Kings, but I DNF'd that. Nah, we're really just gonna find these Kushiel books. No, so no hard mode there. So we're going for Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. I can look at 2024, but I'm sure I didn't read any fantasy that is older this year. All right, prompt number 8, Angels and Demons. Story must feature angels or demons or both in a prominent role. Hard mode, the protagonist is an angel or demon. Isn't Witch King, isn't he a demon? I mean, I know of a series, but it's kind of a spoiler. Alright, battery died, so I had to go and grab a different battery. Hope this one holds out on me, because this is like the battery that doesn't fully charge correctly anymore, so I don't actually know whether it's the case that it doesn't show me that it's fully charged or that it doesn't actually charge at all. So we'll find out if this one dies on me again in a few minutes, I guess. I have in the meantime had a lunch, and I also watched a few r/fantasy bingo wrap-ups to kind of get some inspiration, and that made me think that for the title one, for which I put Kushiel's Justice in, I'm actually going to put a Master of Jinn in, and now I need to figure out again what the hard mode was for that. Yeah, the hard mode was that it didn't have to be royalty. So I'm gonna put a Master of Jinn in there, and then I can use one of the Kushiel books by Jacqueline Carey for the prompt of reading a book in the Nillies, and then that means that I get hard mode for that one as well. Editing me is going to love having to make these stupid changes at this point in time of the video, but okay. Next up, we were at the Angels or Demons prompt. I don't remember what I said about it. I know that I said that one that I know of is a spoiler, but I have come up with another one, and I think I also mentioned it, and that is Witch King by Martha Wells. The character there is described as being a demon, so that's the protagonist, so that is hard mode done there. Then we have prompt number 9, 5 SFF short stories. And I like that they say SFF because I'm not really sure whether r/fantasy bingo board should always be fantasy. I assume so because of the r/fantasy name, but apparently it's SFF, which can help me out later in one of the other prompts, I think. But so, for fantasy, I don't think I read any short stories, but for sci-fi I did, and I read a short story collection. And why is my microphone here again? I'm going to assume that you heard all of the previous stuff. Come on. So for sci-fi, I read the short story collection Synopticon, which is a collection of different stories, sci-fi stories, translated from Chinese. Then, prompt number 10, a horror. Read a book from the horror. Whoa. And the hard mode for short stories was read an entire anthology, which I did. So hard mode done for that one again. Horror. Read a book from the horror genre. Hard mode, not Stephen King or H.P. Lovecraft. Now, that's not difficult for me, for like the not Stephen King part, because I have given up on him, and H.P. Lovecraft I've never read a book by, but I did have some horror in my 2023 wrap-up, so we'll have to see which books those are, because I cannot at first glance think of what books I read that are 2023 that are classified as horror. So horror, 9 books, wow, that's a lot. That's too late in the year. 19 Claws and the Blackbird. I'm gonna count A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. This is a haunted house story. Let me just check the rest. These are not horror. And Feet on Silence, but that's also I read too long ago. So yeah, A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, which is a haunted house story, absolutely counts for horror. So that one goes onto the bingo board, and it's not Stephen King or H.P. Lovecraft, so hard mode again. Third row, self-published or indie publisher. Self-publisher or published through a small indie publisher, okay. Hard mode, self-published and has fewer than 100 ratings. 100 is really, really not many. Or an indie publisher that has done an AMA with r/fantasy. What does that mean? Still don't know what that means, but here's a list of publishers. Ooh. Tilted Axis Press. Did I read a Tilted Axis Press book last year? Probably not, right? I mean, we are not getting a hard mode on this. There's no way that I have a self-published author with under 100, right? Because the one that I can think of here is Cal Kate. She's pretty popular, I think. Maybe if I take the very last one, or like, nah, not even. I mean, it has like Mage of No Renown, which is the prequel that came out, has 1,438 ratings. The most recent, King's Dark Tidings, has 4,352 ratings. Problem with these types of prompts is also that I don't know what an indie publisher is. But it needs to be one of those publishers. I've definitely not read anything from those publishers, right? That I'm aware of, at least. I don't really pay much attention to the publishers. So yeah, we're gonna have to give up on hard mode here, because I don't feel like going through it. So we will put a Mage of No Renown here, but it is still too many ratings to be able to count for that prompt. Where is my r/fantasy bingo board list? Alright, prompt number 12. Set in the Middle East or Middle Eastern SFF. Hard mode, author is of Middle Eastern heritage. I already mentioned Adjusted Air, right? Because I could use Adjusted Air for this. What I mentioned it for like the mundane job, but I had two options there, right? I had After the Forest and Adjusted Air, so I could put After the Forest for mundane jobs, and Adjusted Air could go for this one. Yeah, let's just do that. 13. Published in 2023. A book published for the first time in 2023 should have some options there. But now I need to go to the toilet, so 1 second. Right, back to business. What did I just say? Nothing, I hope. Published in 2023, okay. What am I looking at? This is 2023, right? No, this is Horror 2023. Alright, He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan is the sequel to She Who Became the Sun, and first published in 2023. So I'm just going to go immediately with that one, because I know that I won't have that author on here twice at least. Then we have Multiverse and Alternate Realities. Read a book in which the setting contains at least 2 universes, dimensions, planes, reality, etc. that characters within the book can travel between. Multiple worlds in the same physical plane of existence, such as planets within a universe, would not count for this square. Hard mode. Characters do not walk through a literal door in order to get to another world. I have a book for this, but you're just gonna have to trust me on this, right? Like, I feel I went into this book not knowing this was an element of the book. And so I don't want to say the book, because I feel like my enjoyment of, oh, this is this type of book, is part of the reason why I love this book a lot more than I expected to love it. But should I say it? I guess so, right? I don't know. Ask me for it in the comments if you want me to prove which book it is, but I will not put it on there. I will say like X or whatever, I completed this one in hard mode. Oh, I just realized that the previous one I didn't look at the hard mode for. A 2023 debut. Did I read a 2023 debut? Probably not, right? Yeah, that is a debut, it seems like. But I put it somewhere else. So After the Woods by Cal, After the Forest by Cal would count. But I already moved that so that I could use the Adjusted Air from Middle Eastern. So now I have to see if I can find something else from Middle Eastern. This is becoming such a mess. Yeah. And I used the Master of Jinn because otherwise I could use that for Middle Eastern. You know what? Let's reshuffle again. For the title, instead of a Master of Jinn, let us use The Conjurer by... I've forgotten her name. This is a title It's not a title we actually use in everyday life, but it is a title. It is the name of a person and what they do as a profession. It's the conjurer. So it's a title. It's not royalty, so it's hard mode for that one. Meaning a master of jinn becomes available for Middle Eastern. Meaning Jasad Air. Why did I need Jasad Air? For being a 2023 debut, right? Is that why I needed the Jasad Air? Was I not trying to get After the Woods out? But why would I... But Jasad Air is also a debut, right? Because otherwise I need to do more reshuffle, but I think the Jasad Air is also a debut. I have to click on the author. Yes, that's also debut, so this can go into the 2023 bronze. Just keep on going here with the number 15. POC author must be a person of color. Hard mode. Novel takes place in a futuristic sci-fi world. Parable of the Sower, right? Finished July 8, 2023. POC author, futuristic world. Got it. Alright, 4th row. How many rows are there? 5 rows, okay. So far it's still only the superhero run that I'm missing, right? So, whew. Book club book or read-along book. Any past or active r/fantasy book clubs count as well as past or active r/fantasy read-alongs. Hard mode. Must read a current selection of either a book club or read-along and participate in the discussion. Yeah, I mean, definitely not getting hard mode because, hello, I'm here after the facts. But, full list of book club books here. No, those are just book clubs. I mean, how much research do you need to do into this thing? But I just... I hate this no author twice rule, because I'm like, oh, Kindred, perfect, I just read that. But, of course, that is by Octavia Butler, but also I read it in April, so it wouldn't have counted in any case. The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. I read that one this year. I read that in November 2023, so that one counts. Perfect. But so, no hard modes. So this is the first one now that I'm counting without hard mode, right? Because I ended up... Did I end up telling you guys this? That I was... Yeah, I told you guys that I was changing the Nilly's one. So we cannot do the full hard mode because I don't participate in the discussion here, so yeah. Novella. Read a work of fiction of between 17,500 and 40,000 words. Hard mode. Novella is not published by Tor.com. This might be published by Tor.com, the one that I'm thinking of. The Lies of the Jungo. Yeah, that's a Tor.com novella. Alright, I have to check out my novellas. I guess I'll have to, the easiest I guess, but I have so many books under 300 pages that is actually not the easiest for me. Oh wait, sci-fi also counts, right? I'm guessing all of the Murderbot stuff is Tor.com, but this one here, The Tusks of Extinction. I'm not gonna count the length of this thing, so yeah, like, that can be whatever. It's a Tor.com novella. Tor.com. Yeah, it's also Tor. I was like, what? I'm not reshuffling again, but they also wouldn't count. This one. Please don't be Tor. Look, this is just too difficult because Tor needs to stop producing novellas apparently. Because not really, because quite a few of these I really enjoyed a whole ton. But please give some other people a break. You know, what is this? all of these novellas are Tor.com novellas. Like, and as I said, I don't pay attention to like publishers. So like, it just means that the vast majority of novellas, or at least some novellas which are like doing the rounds, are Tor.com apparently. So yeah, no hard mode on that. We will use the Lies of the Ajungo. And mythical beast. Read a book that prominently features at least one mythical beast, meaning a creature that doesn't exist in reality. I mean, I've started a dragon-based read-along in the month of February, for which... what did we read in the month of February? Ah yeah, After the Dragons. Did I end up using this? No, right? But I could also use my March book, which is The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. So, wait, what was the hard mode? No dragons, okay. Never mind. Mythical creatures. Yeah, I already used Amin Al-Sirafi for the book club one, and I really don't want to look for another book club one. Because that one has a kraken. I hate having to look through this list every 5 seconds. What did of Blood and Magic and Fire have? A dragon, of course, because everything has a fucking dragon. I'm sure that there is something in Daughter of the Moon Goddess, but what is it? Wait. Daughter of the Moon Goddess has like phoenixes or like sunbirds or something like that in it, right? In the beginning, those are mythical creatures. And maybe that other thing as well that I'm looking for within the synopsis of the book. But we are counting this because otherwise I'm unable to count anything. And yes, it absolutely has those things, right? Or should I look for... I feel somewhat bad about putting that in because of how small of a role they play. So I guess we'll change the book club read to Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, which I also read, which means the adventures of Amina al-Sarafi becomes clear for the mythical creature prompt, for which I can then use that book because it has a kraken in it. Rearranging, just keep on rearranging, guys. Alright, where were we? Alright, prompt number 19. Elemental magic. Read a book that has elemental magic. The primary magic within the world deals with the classical elements earth, wind, air, water, and fire. Do I have anything like that? This might actually not be it, because I don't feel like elemental magic is all that popular anymore, or at least I'm not reading it. No, this year I won't have that. I would thought of something, I think. So nope. Second prompt that we don't have, which also already means that we will not be completing the r/fantasy bingo board, because I can substitute 1 space, but I cannot substitute 2 spaces. So yeah, no, I don't have elemental magic. I mean, I really cannot think of anything. Let's see. Myths and retellings. Read a book that is based on a myth or a pre-existing story. Hard mode, not Greek or Roman mythology. Actually not that hard, because the only book that I can think of is Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel, which is inspired by Indian mythology. So that one we have. 5th row across. Queer norm setting. A book set in a world where queerness is normalized, accepted, and prevalent within communities. Hard mode. Not a futuristic setting. Takes place in a time akin to ours, in the past, or in a fantasy world that has no science elements. What did I read this year? Did I read anything like that this year? Because it can be part of the world, but if the main character is not queer, I might not think of it at this point in time. I might have to lose my hard mode here. So the Kushil series is queer normative, but I already have that for another prompt. Fine. So before they are hanged is once again into the Nilly's prompt so that I can put Kushiel's Dart I read too early, so it'll have to be Kushiel's, well, Chosen is sad because I finished it on the 1st of April, so let's just put Kushiel's Avatar there for that one. So losing one of the hard modes, but managing to fit another one of the prompts, so that the bingo board is more complete. Coastal or island setting. I haven't used Bone Short Daughter yet, right? Because I can also use that one, because I was immediately thinking of Amina Al Sarafi, but I can use the Bone Short Daughter for this. Book set in a world where queerness is... No, that's not... Story features a major setting that is near or surrounded by the sea. Hard mode, this book also features seafaring, which it does, so Bone Shard Emperor. Perfect. Oh no. Prompt number 23, Druids. A book that heavily features druids. This can be a classic druid, a priest or magician in Celtic lore, or a magic user whose powers stem from nature. Hard mode, not the Iron Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearn. For some reason, I want to say King's Dark Tidings, but then I need to do another shift. And I'm also not really sure, but I feel like at some point in one of the books, one of the characters draws magic from the world around him. So that would constitute a druid in this explanation, right? Oh. Okay, it is the explanation, right? A magic users whose powers stem from nature. I mean, I'm gonna interpret that as he uses nature as a source for his power. In which case, I'm going to use the Lycanius trilogy by James Islington. Do I think this character is a druid? No, but I'm going to allow this. I think we can interpret this explanation like that, right? 24. Featuring robots. Read a book that features robots, androids, clockwork, machines or automatons. Hard mode robot is the protagonist, and in this case we are going to be using Murderbot Diaries. I'm going to use one of the books that I haven't read yet. I don't think I have put a reread into this list yet, but if I have, this is just to be sure. And then 25, final prompt, sequel. Read a book that is a sequel to another SFF book. Hard mode, book 3 or on in the series. Yeah, I was going to use Lycanius for that originally, but yeah, we will have to look at something else now. And yeah, King's Dark Tidings is also off limits because I already used that. Then, wait, if I don't find anything better, we will use The Battle Drum by Sarah El Arifi. But this is only a second book, so that's not hard mode. Yeah, Murderbot, but I use Murderbot for the robots, right? Do I have I have another book for robots, right? When did I read this? March 5th. It just falls out of it. I had the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers. Wait, when did I read that? That's too long ago, I think. Cytonic, when did I read Cytonic? No, wow, that's 2021. Jesus, it's been a long time. It feels really not that long ago. Oh, haha, Saga. Saga Volume 10 has a robot in it. So we will count that for the robot prompt, meaning Murderbot 4, for example, becomes available for the sequel mode, which has a hard mode. But I lose hard mode on featuring robots. So did I win anything with this whole process? No. So I guess we'll keep it like it was. Murderbot can stay for the featuring robots, and then for sequel I will just put what was it? The Battle Drum in there. And then that means that I can still substitute one book. Bingo wiki page 2022. we will look for a 2022 debut. Ooh, sorry. What did I end up counting for mystical creatures? Amina, right? And is this Sulintan's debut? Yes! So, we will use the prompt debut 2022 hard mode, replace that one for the superhero prompt, and then I get hard mode with Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulintan, which means that the only prompt that I did not get is a good question, because I've already forgotten all of the prompts, of course. I ended up getting druids, right? So what did I not end up getting? The elemental magic one. Do I really not have anything with elemental magic in it? Hey guys, so Editing is Me is going to make some changes to this board because some of the choices that I made there, like with my third edit at this point in time, don't make sense anymore because I have better solutions for them. So what we'll be shifting is Daughter of the Moon God. We will be pushing into the elemental, like not the elemental magic slot, but we will use the substitution of the 2022 prompts. We'll put that on the elemental magic space because elemental magic I definitely cannot fill. But I can fill superhero because I've read quite a few Buffy the Vampire Slayer books throughout the, well, comic books throughout the year, and Buffy definitely is a super powered individual, so she counts as a superhero. So that fulfills the bingo board. So I have been able to finish r/fantasy unintentionally without planning to. And so this also means that for superheroes I get hard mode because Buffy is not DC or what was the other, Marvel, I guess, related. So we get hard mode on that. And then I'm going to also make another switch. I'm going to switch the Just Add Air and After the Forest, because the Just Add Air could also serve for the mundane job prompt, but it fits hard mode there because it is not set on our planet Earth. And then After the Forest is also a 2023 debut, so it does also fit the hard mode where I'd currently put Just Add Air. So that means that I get one more hard mode, meaning that I am left with 1, 2, 3, I think, that are, or is it more? Wait, let me count. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. 4 books that I didn't manage to do the hard mode for, but I did manage to complete the entire bingo board, and that is a win. Without planning to, I was able to fit in every single prompt for r/fantasy. Back to past Cleo, who's now going to say some untrue things about the fact that I did not complete this bingo board, just to confuse you all a little bit further. Two bets. We did not complete the r/fantasy bingo board, but we got really, really close. And I hope you enjoyed this video because it took me 3 hours, I feel like, to film this. I did have to take a break at 2 hours probably, yeah. 2 hours to film this. Did have to take a break in order to have lunch. It wasn't 2 full hours, but Editing Me is going to absolutely hate this video. So show it some love, guys. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna end this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and see you guys for the next one. Bye!